Hello, and welcome to my diversity training on Latin America. As our world continues to advance in diversity and welcome different cultures into different settings, such as the workplace, it is extremely important that we as coworkers, managers, supervisors, etc., become educated on how differently these cultures behave in the workplace. I will preface the cultural history, values, stereotypes, and most importantly, the communication and skills that the Latin American culture utilizes in the workplace. Now, before we dive into the complexity of Latin America's communication and skills, it is important to also be educated on their cultural background. Latin America consists of South and Central America, the Caribbean, and Mexico. Now, according to the article History of Latin America on the Britannica website written by David Bushnell, these large portions of land were conquered by the Spaniards and Portuguese, which largely explains the Spanish and Portuguese influential culture in their history, culture, and values. On to the stereotypes of this culture. Some positive stereotypes include that they are family-oriented and respectful. As for family-oriented, Latin American cultures are extremely family-oriented and value family more than most things in life. They see their family as a luxury and something that they can never and will never replace. As for them being respectful, Latino cultures place a high value on demonstrating respect to others, especially those of higher authority, which explains why this stereotype is commonly interpreted. Now, while there are positive stereotypes, of course, there are negative ones, such as them being less educated and lazy. As for being less educated, according to Innovate Public Schools, an article by Cheyenne Winston, Latinos are viewed as less educated. And this is because, and I quote, they have less access to reliable internet, computers, and have less time with their teachers and peers. As for lazy, although many people see Latin immigrants as newly arrived parasites in the United States, they are the ones taking up a majority of the jobs where workers need to put in immense labor. This leads me to my next point, the occupational data. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Hispanic or Latino population takes the lead in the total employed in the following occupations: grades and sorters of agricultural products, drywall installers, ceiling and tile installers, tapers, roofers, and lastly, crane and tower operators, all of which have employees of Hispanic or Latino culture that are well above 60,000. On to populational data. According to the Census.gov website, the Article 2020 Census by Nicholas Jones et al., the Hispanic or Latino population has grown from 50.5 million in 2010 to just over 62 million in 2020. Due to this increasing popularity in the United States, Latin American food, music, languages, fashion, and a variety of other elements of their culture have been infused into the U.S. culture, and they have adopted them into their own daily lives without taking much notice. Cultural values. Latin Americans are typically a highly oriented group. This means a strong importance on relying on your family or group for protection and identity. Secondly is respeto, or respect. Respect is one of, if not the most important value in the Latin American culture. It is said to respect your elders and professionals and never question their authority or their word. Taking all of these personal and cultural points into account, I will now provide information about the workplace communication by Latinos. Communication in the workplace. Latino culture typically follows the role of showing extreme respect to authority. According to Diversity Jobs website, Latino employees tend to treat those with higher authority, such as business professionals or health professionals, with the utmost respect. Keeping conflicted opinions to oneself is expected. They would much rather prefer to share these conflicting opinions in a private, one-to-one setting and time. Verbal and nonverbal messages. Some nonverbal and verbal messages that Latinos may utilize in their workplace communication include the following. Nonverbal messages include nodding to authority figures, such as healthcare professionals and others, to show a sign of careful listening and respect when they're talking in order to show agreement. as well as eye contact. As for verbal messages, formal manners are often followed by using appropriate and respectable titles such as Señor and Señora for Miss, Mrs., or Mr. They also use appropriate greetings such as Buenos dias, Buenas tardes, and Buenas noches, which all stand for good morning, good afternoon, good night, and good evening. Interpersonal strategies and skills. Latinos tend to take a long-winded approach to sharing their ideas and messages in a sensitive yet tactful way, not only to get their point across in a respectful yet straightforward manner, but also to avoid any sort of conflict or confrontation with others. Working in teams. Latinos do not like to rock the boat. Maintaining smooth sailing relationships with members is important for a harmonious team with a reflecting outcome. Workplace customs and traditions. Maintaining good status with coworkers, managers, higher-ups, etc., as relationships with others is valued in the Latin American culture. Close relationships with coworkers, saying hello to everyone, asking about their daily lives, shaking the hands of men, and pecking the cheeks of women is also followed. In the Latin American culture, they love to be friendly and maintain friendliness with others. Latin Americans also believe that whatever they accomplish is not only for themselves, but for everyone else around them. Some interesting information about the Latin American culture is that they're often seen as hard workers and are also prideful. Latinos take high pride in all of their accomplishments, no matter how small they may seem. They also value education. Although I myself am Hispanic, Latin American cultures do not stray far from Hispanic ones. One thing our cultures share is that our value for education. We believe it is super important to work hard throughout our entire lives in order to accumulate the resources we need in order to survive and be happy. With all of these points being said, we have reached the conclusion of my presentation. As we have dived into the stereotypes, cultural background and values, teamwork skills and interpersonal strategies, and verbal and nonverbal messages that Latinos may utilize in the workplace, we can conclude that Latinos are very relationship-oriented. They value their time and are respectful individuals. I hope that this informational discussion on the Latino culture in the workplace has taught those how to understand and respect their culture. Thank you.